The shocking news out there is that of the demise of the spiritual head of Synagogue Church of All Nations. He has been confirmed dead. He is called Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua. He is the founder of SCOAN, Synagogue Church of All Nations. Most of you must have seen YouTube and probably attended his services, deliverance services, and you've seen how he performed miracles. Not so long ago, TB Joshua's YouTube channel got brought down as a result of certain complaints from people who claimed that he criminalized, or rather, he made homosexuality appear as a demon that needs to be kicked out. And aside this, there are also some other people out there who call themselves prophets too. We don't know if they are self-acclaimed prophets or seers who talked about the tension between TB Joshua and the wise men. If you've attended Synagogue Church of All Nations, you must have heard about the wise men. These are like prophets, seers that TB Joshua raised. They are like his spiritual sons. But somehow along the line, it seems some of them complain that TB Joshua doesn't want to allow them live. It's often the case most of the time. And many of them left forcefully. I think about 4 or 3 of them left forcefully, while only one stayed till the end. Only one stayed till the end, aside the representative of the church in Greece. And, the demise of TB Joshua is a bit sketchy. What is behind it is a bit sketchy. It is not reported if he was sick. It's not reported if he had coronavirus. It's not been reported if it was a spiritual attack or whatever it is. I know a lot of people say, well, the demise of TB Joshua is what has been written. It is time for him to live. He's 57 years old. Now, the reports of the death of Joshua started circulating in the early hours of Sunday. Today, Sunday, he's supposed to be there coordinating the service. But there was no confirmation until the Facebook handle of the church, Emmanuel TV, TB Joshua's ministry, until they confirmed it on their own page. This is 100% correct. Saturday, 5th June 2021, Prophet TB Joshua spoke during the Emmanuel TV Partners meeting. And the title of this was Time for Everything, Time to Come Here for Prayer, and Time to Return Home After the Service. God has taken his servant, Prophet TB Joshua, home, as it should be by divine will. His last moments on earth were spent in the service of God. This is what he was born for, lived for, and died for. This is coming from the Facebook handle of the church. As Prophet TB Joshua says, the greatest way to use life is to spend it on something that will outlive it. Prophet TB Joshua leaves a legacy of service and sacrifice to God's kingdom that is living for generations yet unborn. The Synagogue Church of All Nations and Emmanuel TV family appreciate your love, prayers, and concern at this time and request a time of privacy for the family. These are the words. These are the words. And they said the last words of Prophet TB Joshua is watch and pray. One life for Christ is all we have. One life for Christ is so dear. Now, there have been a lot of issues that surrounds the church of TB Joshua. People have said that he's diabolic, meaning he wasn't called by God. Some said he was called by God, and many mixed opinions here and there. And according to the scriptures, it says, "By their fruits we shall know them." And there is nobody aside the people who worked with him, and it's a very difficult one because when you're on top, you become a topic. We do not know for sure what went wrong in that ministry. Did God call him or God did not call him? And aside that, we have several people who came forward saying things about some dark activities that goes on in the church, such as some spiritual sacrifices and some kind of immoral acts. And they talked about several other things and talked about the Islamic background of Prophet TB Joshua. They also talked about many affiliation to white garment and many other things that surround, and also the very terrible one, what happened in the church where a lot of people died. A lot of people died back then. They claim that it was the terrorists in the north of Nigeria who flew in plane with some kind of ultrasonic effect. They brought down the church, and they brought down a part of the church, and about 300 people or 280 people died. And according to people who were there, who were part of the church, they claim that things were tied up spiritually for TB Joshua when these people were sacrificed. They claimed that the door opened and TB Joshua started traveling here and there. We do not understand this spiritual realm anyway. And if you are not in that level of spirituality, you might not be able to even know who is of God and who is not of God. You might not even know if someone is using demons to operate or any of this. Now, there are a lot of comments that show this. Some are saying that which Sunday evening, today or last week? Well, it is this Sunday. People were expecting TB Joshua to come up to speak. There are still some people out there who do not even believe that TB Joshua is dead, and they feel that he is so filled with the power of God, and what will kill him at this time. The church went off from the normal services when virus started ravaging the world, and Prophet TB Joshua had a time by himself. He went on fasting. We saw him on mountains, and he did his things on the internet using social media platform to continue propagating the gospel, or to propagate the message that he has to offer to people. And I don't know the reactions of the wise men at this time. I'm going to keep you guys updated on the reactions of the wise men. What are they going to say? Are there more things that will come out after the demise of Prophet TB Joshua? So a lot of RIP, deepest condolences. Of course, Prophet TB Joshua has huge following. I mean, a lot of people follow Prophet TB Joshua, and definitely a lot of people will be affected by this. Now, what is going to happen to the church? It has not been told to anybody who will take over that ministry or the church. As you know, Prophet TB Joshua was not allowed into the PFAN. That's the Pentecostal Fellowship Association of Nigeria. That's the body that coordinates Pentecostal churches. He wasn't allowed in. They claimed that he doesn't have a spiritual father. They asked him to tell them how he got saved, how he got born again, and all of that. And it seems they had issues with the background of Prophet TB Joshua. And there have been a lot of arguments about this here and there. And they said he's a charlatan. They said he's demonic. They said a lot of things about him. And now I'm sure that a lot of people will begin to come up to say things such as, TB Joshua has been finally taken off. The demon has been taken off. The lies will come to an end. There are a lot of people who felt hurt, who felt that TB Joshua hurt them, and they might want to come up to say, finally, our prayer has been answered. One of them is Bisola. She's presently called FCBA now. She has taken time over, to talk about these things that happened when she was a member of TB Joshua's ministry. And there are very, very complex things about this. And she, most of the times, I'm not saying that is what happened because I'm not privy to this information. I wasn't there. But most of the times, the oppressed, most people don't listen to the oppressed. They listen to the oppressor most of the time. But in this case, no one knows what happened. She's only saying her own truth. And some other people came out to speak. But the person that was more vocal about the happenings in Synagogue Church of a Nation is Bisola FCBA, which a lot of people have written off as a liar. But I'm not going to say she's a liar, and I'm not going to say she's saying the truth. But what I'm going to say is that Bisola FCBA said her own truth, and nobody has a right to take off what someone has said about his or her own experience. And the church came up with a disclaimer at that time, and the disclaimer is the video, and she called that video a kind of confession, forced confession, like the type you find in the Roman Catholic Church, although it's not forced at this time, but it's something like that where you come to talk about you come there to talk about your sins or something like that. But in this case, they said you have to speak and say certain things that they tell you to say, and this they keep it on record. So whenever you fumble, whenever you try to speak against the church, they bring this to discredit you. That's what she said. No one will ever know. TB Joshua is dead, and probably certain secrets will come out. We don't know. Do not forget the late Ajanoku. There are certain things that people said about the death of Ajanoku and what happened along the line. And they said Ajanoku is not of God, that he belongs to a secret society. What is going to happen to Prophet TB Joshua? Is there going to be certain information, probably something that will be unearthed in the church, certain things that will come out to prove to the world finally that God cannot be mocked? Or is this going to be more of, what it is, that God God will be praised more and more. What I'm thinking and saying in this is that there are certain people who might want to idolize this. Probably I don't know what the church is going to do, but I think this is like a huge blow to the people who are followers of Prophet TB Joshua, and of course the continuation of the church.